But we begin this Friday with the road to the White House. Donald Trump doing an about-face, if you will, and finally signing a pledge to be loyal to the Republican Party. But this issue, as you know, is far from over. Happy Friday of this Labor Day weekend. I'm Leland Vittert in for John Scott on Happening Now.
And I'm Molly Line in for Jenna Lee. Trump signed on the dotted line after meeting yesterday with RNC Chairman Reince Priebus. But political watchers point out there is nothing legally binding about that pledge. So what exactly has changed?
Lots of questions. Cal Thomas, syndicated columnist, Ellen Ratner, bureau chief for Talk Radio News Services, both Fox News contributors. All right, two issues here. Number one, Mr. Trump's track record on keeping promises. We'll deal with that one in a minute. First, Cal Thomas, does signing this pledge help him, considering he's tried to be this outsider, anti-establishment candidate? Now he's going in bed with the RNC.
Well, it takes the issue off the table, Leland, for the coming debates, the one on September 16th and future ones. So he can't be attacked as anything other than a Republican. So I think it's a good political move for him. But you're right. There is no legal binding thing to keep him in the party. Trump is for Trump, though. I mean, he's been a Democrat longer than he's been a Republican, as Jeb Bush has correctly pointed out. He's been all over the place on different issues. He says he's OK with higher taxes. He doesn't talk about spending. He flipped on abortion, but he said the reason for that is he just talked to somebody who had a story to tell. But there are plenty of women on the other side who are pro-choice who have stories to tell. It doesn't seem to be a center of conviction. It's all emotion and attitude. And so who knows? We'll see if he lives up to the promise. But it's a good tactical move in the short term.
Ellen, how does this play on the other side all of a sudden in terms of, do you all of a sudden look at Trump differently now that he has signed this pledge? Does it make him any more Republican?
I'm not sure it does make him any more Republican. He certainly said on Meet the Press that he's looked over some bad contracts, that he knows where to find bad contracts. That he didn't say it as such, but he implied that he knows where to look for the holes. So I think that in terms of the Democratic side, people heard that on Meet the Press, and they have really some questions, just as I call him, Dr. Cal says. So I think that the Democrats have some real questions as to whether this is going to be a truism.
All right, so right now, no one is really taking Mr. Trump at his word, as you might say. Our Carl Cameron pointed this out, and I'm going to read through it to get it right. The general and primary election calendars are such that Trump could keep his pledge all the way through the end of March, when it is likely we will know who the nominee is on the Republican side, and then still have time to break his pledge and get on the ballot as an independent candidate. And what I'm hearing from both of you is that you view that as a real possibility because you don't necessarily trust Mr. Trump. So, Cal, does it matter all of a sudden come May he decides to run as an independent? Does the fact that he made this pledge matter to anyone, or can he just sort of blow this promise off? As you noted, he's blown so many other promises.
Yeah, well, Ellen mentioned contracts. I don't want to sound too judgmental here, but I think, he's broken 2 contracts with previous wives. And I think it says a lot about a man if he doesn't live up to a promise that he freely makes, a vow to love, honor, and cherish the wife until death us do part. But look, I think he can do whatever he wants to do. The problem is the history of third-party candidates in this country, going back to George Wallace and even when Ted Kennedy, not a third-party candidate, but challenging Jimmy Carter in the 1980 election cycle, or 76 election cycle, no, 1980, that's right, divides the party and divides loyalties. And I think that if he chose to run as a third-party candidate like Ross Perot, he would absolutely divide the Republican Party and hand the election to Hillary Clinton or whoever the Democratic nominee happens to be.
I was going to say, you've got to be, Democrats have got to be licking their chops at the possibility of him breaking this promise. It's like, please, please, won't you?
And listen, I have seen so many Democrats lick their chops over this since he said this. I can't even tell you. You're absolutely correct. They're licking their chops.
All right, Cal Thomas, Ellen Ratner, appreciate you both being here. We'll see if Mr. Trump does indeed live up to his word on this one. Only time will tell. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, William.
Thank you.
All the best.